Okay, good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where you're at. I'm going to make this little video. I'm not sure how long it is, and I promise that I will slow my speech down a little bit. A few of you have mentioned that. What I want to cover today, I have mentioned a few times, but I want to show you what you need for a brand Bible. Now, honestly, no clue on who came up with the term. I like it, so I'm stealing it, and I don't care. The reason why it's called a brand Bible is that you are going to follow this religiously. Once it's made, and you really want to, in this day and age, the main reason why you really want to build a brand Bible is for two reasons. One, this is the information that you will give any AI that you use. And this is for making products, product details, titles, SEO articles, all of it. Anything that you're going to have AI do, it needs this kind of information. Now, I know I've touched on it in a couple different videos, but I want to go into more specific details. Now this, what you're looking at right now in front of you is my brand Bible for Daydream and Nightmare Nails, which you can find the store online. Correction, brand. Not a store, it is a brand. And you can look it up if you want to see what the visuals are. But all of this is really actually needed, not only for the AI, but for you. This helps you decide on how you're going to build your brand, how the brand is going to be seen, how you want it run. And this will help keep you on track, and it helps the AI stay on track. So the very first thing, you've got your name for your brand right there, which is Daydream and Nightmare Nails. Tagline: be bold, daring, be you, and be unapologetic. That's the whole message for my brand. And you really want a tagline for marketing purposes. And it doesn't matter what your tagline is, but it's something that you're going to kind of use over and over and over so that people, if they hear it or they start knowing your name, they're going to associate that tagline with your brand. And that's what you really want. The more branding you can do on a marketing standpoint, the better. Now you got the mission statement, your vision statement. The vision statement, actually, what I tend to do is I tend to combine the mission statement as well as the vision statement and put it on my website as the About Us. You do a little bit of a combination of it. I will let you read this. I'm not going to scroll too far or too fast. If you want to read it, pause it, whatever. But this is just the very beginning of your brand. The way it's going to be perceived, the way it's going to be seen and felt and heard by your target market. So the next thing is the brand identity. This just kind of gives you and the AI, once again, background information on your brand. Once you make this brand Bible, this is going to be pretty much written in, I'm going to say in clay, not stone, because it is semi-malleable. But you need to make small changes. You don't make huge sweeping changes. It will confuse your target market, and if they are confused, they get pissed off, and then they go away. And if your target market goes away, you're no longer selling to anyone. So don't piss your target market off, folks. Make small changes to this. And the changes will happen over time. Your brand voice. This one here, this is semi-permanent. It is one of those things that over the time, and I'm talking years, I'm not talking days, weeks, or months. I'm talking 6 months to a year to further on down the track. Look at any company that has started out, and they started out small. Look at Nike. It was originally, the name changes, the logo has changed a little bit, and the way they start approaching people is changing. But this is over years of gathering data. They're always trying something a little different, but it's never these huge monster changes. They're subtle changes for a lot of things. You're not going to find companies that have been around for quite some time making these really huge changes unless they're idiots. Speaking of idiots, I'm going to touch on one of the most basic things that you need to understand when it comes to marketing. Is that you don't go against your target market. You want a prime example of going against your target market? Look at the blunder that Bud Light did with with their trans spokesperson. They went 100% against their target market. They were not interested in trans people. They didn't care if a trans person drank that beer. The target market for Bud Light just did not care, and it cost them a lot of business. Not only did it cost them a lot of business, but I honestly don't think they're going to recover from this blunder. And with a little common sense, it could have been prevented. Do not be PC. This is going to piss a lot of people off, and I don't care, but you do not be PC. Don't try to be all-inclusive. When it comes to your brand Bible, make sure that you have your target market, which I'm going to show you the target market here in a minute. But make sure that once you know your target market, and this is the one thing on your brand Bible that cannot change. Once you get your target market, you do not change it. This will be your core people. Anyone else that's outside of this group that comes in and they stay, they become part of your core target market. But there are always outliers, folks. I do not care how inclusive you are. You're going to piss somebody off. So don't be inclusive. If the only time that it really matters is on how someone identifies is if you're specifically going after, again, I'm just going to use a transsexual grouping as an example. The only time that it really matters if they are transsexual or not is if you are specifically going for the trans community. And if you are, that's great. Make sure you lock them in tight. But in all honesty, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to branding, the only time that a person's sexual orientation really matters is if they are male or female. It doesn't matter if they're biological or not. If that's how they identify, great, cool, fine. You don't care. You don't even care if they identify as a B-52 bomber. The whole thing that really matters when it comes to orientation is male or female. And a lot of times that doesn't even matter. It depends on what you are selling, on if it is a unisex approach or if it's male or female. Clothing is a prime example. You're not going to sell, this backless, really sexy gown to somebody like me who's a 48-year-old white fat man. I don't look good in a backless number. No one needs to see my ass hanging out of a dress. Nobody wants to see that. I don't even want to see that. So don't try to be inclusive. You're wasting your money, and more importantly, you're wasting the one resource that you will never get back, and that is your time. So stick to your target market. Make sure your brand voice, which right here, actually fits your target market as well. And my brand voice, this whole entire brand Bible here, this whole entire brand is an experiment of mine. Companies really should only have one brand voice because it can confuse people if you're using more than one brand voice. Now, Daydream and Nightmare Nails has 3 target markets and 4 brand voices. And it can confuse people a little bit. The 4th brand voice is a little all-encompassing within my target market. But each brand voice, as you can see right here, this is, while I'm talking, you can be reading here. But I have 3 target markets. The first one is the DIY nail art enthusiast. Has its own brand voice. Then the fashion-forward individuals, own brand voice. Gothic and alternative style aficionados, their own brand voice. That's 3 brand voices right there. Now the 4th one is seductive, empowering, commanding. This one brand voice here could be my all-encompassing brand voice if I so choose to do it. I'm using it more for the fashion-forward and the Gothic group, more than the DIY nail enthusiasts. But it's all, in this one, it's all about empowering, commanding, seductive. It could apply to the nail artist as well. I am personally using this mostly for the Gothic and a little bit of the fashion forward. Now, here is my target markets. This is the entire canyon of your, to use a weird word, this is the heart of your brand, in all honesty, is your target market. These are the people you do not piss off. These are the people that you cater to. These are the people that you are inclusive to the point of ignoring anyone and everyone that does not fit in this. If you get an outlier, great, fine. Do not chase them. I cannot emphasize that enough. Do not chase the outliers. Don't worry if an outlier starts crying, oh, you don't care about my community, you don't care about this. Like here, just as a prime example, and this is going to tick a few of you off, and I don't care, but I don't care, in all honesty, if these products are vegan friendly. They're not part of my, the vegan part, not interested in it. I am not including them in my target market. Now, if they come into here and they say, oh, hey, this is really good, this is really neat looking, you know, and they start asking questions, I will answer their questions, but I'm not catering to them. I'm not going to bow down and say, oh, well, seeing how this isn't vegan, I'm not selling it. I don't care. They're not part of my target market. They are outliers. They can rant, rave, parade around until their little bodies run out for maybe, 20 minutes because they're lacking protein? Sorry, cheap joke, but either way. Again, I am not catering to them. I am not catering specifically to like drag queens. If they come in and they find my nails really great, cool. They can fit into whatever category they want to fit themselves into, but I'm not specifically targeting them. I'm not excluding them, but I am not targeting them. If they come in, hey, great, cool. They can start asking questions. I will answer their questions. But once again, I am not going for them because my target market is pretty much predominantly females. As you can actually see on all of my target markets, they are all female. There is Miss Brand, who builds the basic outline of your brand Bible, and then Juno, who does all of the target marketing. Let's see here. So let's just correct this. Mostly female. And again, that's an important aspect to make, not only for yourself, but for the AI, because then they will know exactly how to address your target market, how to write to them. I have done a target market thing, so a video that's in my channel. You can find it to show you why you want to know all the details of what you want. Here's the third target market, Gothic and alternative style. The all genders on the Gothic one, that's the only one I'm actually leaving as all genders. Because in reality, I have seen some Gothic guys with some really killer nails. So, I'm kind of leaving that one a little all genders, but again, in reality, I will be targeting mostly females when it comes down to it. Now, here is one of the more powerful aspects. The buyer and negative personas. What a buyer persona is basically your ideal client. Now, most brands, in all honesty, unless you're running a general store, most brands will have one buyer and one negative persona. Buyer and negative persona are basically different sides of the same coin. Buyer persona is your ideal customer. The very perfect customer, the one that every marketer drools over. They want this person to be associated with the brand. They want them wearing everything that has to do with the brand because they know that this is the person that's going to buy and they're going to be consistent buyers. You want this information so that you know how to target your audience, how to write to them, how to make it sound more attractive to them. You will also want the negative persona. The negative persona is the exact opposite of your buyer persona. It's the people that you do not want anything to do with your brand. Going back to the whole 48-year-old fat man here on the dresses. If you're selling women's clothing, evening gowns, you do not want me to see your ad because it is a waste of your time. It is a waste of your money. So you need that negative persona to tell ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Claude 2, even Bing, who to avoid. And what it will do is it will avoid using phrases that will attract your negative persona. And it will use phrases and wording to attract your buyer persona. It gives it guidelines of how to write things. Now, with this brand particularly, I actually have 3 buyer and 3 negative personas for each target, one for each target market. And here it is. And Demetrius actually does this for you. And it basically just takes, to make a buyer and negative persona, you need to know your target market. When it comes to marketing, I can't stress this enough, folks. You need to know your target market. Your store lives and breathes by it. And so many people miss this. I'm seeing so many things on Reddit, Facebook groups, and a few other places, even LinkedIn and whatnot, of why is my brand not taking off? 9 times out of 10, the reason why your brand is not taking off is because you do not know who you're selling to. You can't say I'm selling to anyone with a pulse, because that's a waste of time and money. You're not going to get anywhere doing that. The one thing that you need to remember is not everyone is going to be your customer. And that's okay. That's completely reasonable. But trying to be all-inclusive, you're not going to succeed. And to be perfectly honest, you don't want to be all-inclusive. Everyone wants to be part of something that is exclusive. It is something that we are drilled into from the time we can basically understand human speech and we can start talking. Everyone wants to be part of some kind of group. We are pack animals, pure and simple. Again, there are a few outliers that don't give a damn if they're part of a group or not, and that's fine and dandy. But there is so many brands out there that are exclusive. Look at Louis Vuitton, look at Rolex, look at Lamborghini, the ultra-rich brands that are for the ultra-rich people. That's being highly exclusive, and it's a very smart thing to do. You don't want to chase outliers. Lamborghini doesn't chase somebody like me who's scared shitless of cars. I don't like. I'm a lousy passenger, let alone just getting into a car to pull it out of my driveway kicks my anxiety like you wouldn't believe through the frickin' roof. The many joys of being run over by a car, by the way. But Lamborghini's not going to come after me and say, "Oh, hey, you want a Lambo?" No, I don't. First off, I'm fat. I'm disabled. And have you ever seen a fat and disabled man try to get into a Lamborghini? Take it back. Getting into a Lamborghini would be easy. You fall into it. It's getting out of that low thing. That's where the problem is. People would probably pay to see me try to get out of a Lamborghini. That would be hours of fun for them. Push the fat man back in, quickly. But don't be all-inclusive, folks. Find your target market and stick to it. You build your brand around them. And as you can see, here's the rest of the buyer persona and negative persona. These are really important aspects to actually have. Now, some marketers will use buyer buyer and negative personas, some don't put any stock into them. I personally put a lot of stock into them. Everything that you do should revolve around this buyer because it is the one that you want the most. Everybody else will fall in line or they will fall out. It doesn't matter. If you can capture your buyer, your buyer, one true buyer every brand wants to have, if you can capture them, the rest will start following. So build yourself a brand Bible, folks. And this is the kind of information that you need, that you want to have. And it's not that, it's like, what, 5 pages? This one here is like maybe 4 or 5 pages, something like that. It's not a full-on business plan. This is the backbone of your entire brand. And it always starts with the brand name, a tagline, mission statement, vision statement, your brand identity. Just kind of gives you a real quick rundown of what your brand is, what you want your brand to be all about. The brand voice. The brand voice is very important as well because this is going to tell whatever AI you're using how to write, how to sound when people are reading your stuff. And it gives that tone so that it's not flat and mechanical. Without a brand voice, everything AI puts out is flat. You can tell it's AI because it's machine. It literally comes off as machine written, but yet you give it a brand voice and watch the difference. I mean, it's huge. So you give yourself a brand voice and you go from there. Now, the way that I do this when it comes to first starting to build a brand voice, the first thing I do is I do research on a niche and I take my time on the research. I take 2, maybe 3 days. A couple hours here and there per day to go down rabbit holes. Google Gemini is perfect for this because they have direct contact and direct control of Google Trends and Google AdWords. Use those tools to your advantage. Before AI came out, even before Google Trends came out, if you wanted this kind of information, you would spend thousands of dollars to go to a few publishing companies that hold all this data. You would spend 5 to 10 grand, maybe even up even higher, to get this kind of information. And it's just raw data that they have that you would have to spend months going through, looking through all the data that they've collected to find your target market, to find out your buyer persona, your negative persona. You would still have to go out, run surveys, and it takes forever to get a really good brand up. But now with AI, even the way that it's constantly changing, it really changes the game, folks. I can build a viable brand in 2 hours. And that's with, in all honesty, probably about an hour's worth of research and an hour to set this up properly, to set the brand Bible up. It would take you another day, maybe 2, to build like a Shopify store, have your products done, all of it. So you're looking at maybe 3 days if you were going to rush it. Do not rush this. This is not a sprint, folks. What you are getting into, this is a marathon. Be in it for the long haul, not the short run. Be prepared to lose money your first month or 2, because you're going to, even if you're doing organic, especially if you're doing organic, if you're going organic, you're going to lose money probably the first 2 months. Then the 3rd month, things might start picking up a little bit, and you're going to start seeing orders coming in, and it's all good. It'll start slowly building steam. If you're going to run ads, in all honesty, probably the first month or 2, you're going to be spending money on testing. And you're going to spend a fair bit of money on testing to see if the products are right, if you have your brand voice right, if you have the descriptions right, and if it's viable or not. Don't get married to your brand that you start. Be ready to cut ties should it not work. And I'm going to tell you, when you first start out, you're going to fail. You might make a little bit of money, but you're not going to be where you want to be, and that's perfectly okay. Failing is an option, actually. whole idea behind this is you fail upwards. So your first store fails miserably. You take what you've learned from that brand, from building your brand and everything else, and you put all of that new knowledge into your next brand, and you do better at it. You fail upwards. That one, you start making a few sales, but it starts dropping off for some reason, and you can't figure it out. You get frustrated, and you want to kill the store. That's fine. Kill the brand. Boop. Move on to the next one. But take all the lessons that you've learned from the first brand and your second brand, combine it all. Your third brand now starts doing even better. You decide that, hey, I can do better than this. So you either tweak that brand with all the things that you've learned, and you're continuing to learn, and you build all of that stuff into a fourth brand, or a fifth brand, or a 10th, or however many brands you want to build. I have built many brands, more than I'm going to, honestly answer to that. A lot of them have been complete and utter failures, and that's fine. I learned some things. And sometimes what you learn is a simple lesson. Hey, moron, don't do that again. I'm 48 years old, folks. I've had a lot of those lessons. Yes, I still make a few of those. I still learn that lesson even, like last week. You'd think that you would learn, but some of us are a little slow on the take sometimes. So, don't be upset if your brand fails, folks. You scrap it, build a new one, and you continue learning, you continue failing upwards. It's that simple. It can be frustrating at times, I know, so you get frustrated, you get upset. Let yourself feel these emotions. But don't get bogged down into them. Just, pick yourself up off of the ground, dust yourself off, look life in the face, kick it back in the teeth, and keep moving forward, folks. Build yourselves brand Bibles. Do the research. So again, first thing you do, look into the niches. Explore them. Second step, find your target market. Once you have that target market built, then you build a brand Bible. Once you have your brand Bible written, then you look for products. Don't look for products to start with. You want to start exploring niches first. Then the brand Bible, then the products. And the reasoning is that it is a real pain in the butt to try to figure out how to build a brand around one product or a set of products. It's better to look into a niche. And when I start my research, I start off with a really broad niche, like women's clothing or men's clothing. See how how far down that goes. So I will niche within a niche because it's a little less competition than going really super broad. Prime example, look at pet stores. The pet niche is a really hot niche because I saw a thing that basically said Australia alone spends like $3 billion a year on their pets. That's a really big market. But the problem is, if you go super general and you start a general store on a pet niche, you're going to be going against already well-established brands. There's a brand here in Australia called Pet Barn. They cater to almost every pet you can imagine that are normal pets. I don't think they carry things for horses. I could be wrong, but for normal, small, dogs, cats, birds, fish, things of that nature. I would have to compete against them who they've been here forever and a day, and they've already got the marketing budget, and they've got a really large chunk of the target market. But if I say I'm going to concentrate on reptiles or birds, there's less of a niche, less of competition in that niche than there is when it comes to being going general. So it's easier to carve a place for yourself out of that really broad niche if you niche downwards. And say that you want to go for, you want to start supplying stuff for birds. People that have pet birds will start seeing your brand and say, hey, these guys really cater to me and my pet. They understand birds better than what Pet Barn would, because Pet Barn is too general. By niching down, you can have a tighter control of that niche, and you're going to have a better following as well. So, that's pretty much enough of my babbling, I guess. If you guys have any questions, always remember you can ask me. Just leave a comment in the comment section, and I will answer as I can get to them. But just as a rehash, don't piss your target market off. Find that they are the second thing that you're going to find after you do your research on niches. They are very ultra important. Build yourself a brand Bible, because this is the data that all AIs need, and what you need yourself as well. Make small changes to this as your brand grows. Don't make huge sweeping changes, especially to the brand voices. The brand voice is semi-fluid. Or maybe I should say it's semi-rigid. That would be a little bit better way of explaining it. And you have this really great, dark, mysterious brand voice going on, and your target market absolutely loves everything about your brand. Well, one day you get someone comes up behind you and whacks you in the head with a baseball bat, and you get a concussion. And you decide that, hey, this brand voice just isn't working. So instead of having this dark, mysterious brand voice that your target market loves, you come up with this wild-haired idea of having the brand voice sound like the girl next door, who is a bit, let's just say loose, to keep things a little PG here. She's also developed a case of crabs. To make matters worse, she's bubbly. She is rainbows and sunshines and puppy dogs. Everything that the gothic community isn't. Coffin. That nobody, you have just pissed off your target market, folks. You will upset them 100%. They will be getting out pitchforks and torches, and they're coming for you. Or they're just going to go away. They're just going to disappear into the night, just like the fog does. Just mysteriously, poof, and there goes your brand. Because you've utterly pissed off your entire target market. Without your target market, you have no sales. No sales means you go hungry. So, boys and girls, what do? Don't piss off the target market. It is something that I harp on all the time. Every public relations fire or incident can be stopped beforehand by applying common sense. And I swear to all that is holy that common sense has become my superpower. Look at your target market. Know your target market. Don't piss your target market off. Cannot be stated enough. You can avoid most public relations issues simply by sticking with your target market. Again, if the outliers come for you, ignore them. Let them pick it. Let them cry. Let them boo-hoo. Let them yell that I need a safe space. They're noise. They're background noise. That's all they are. You want to cater to your target market. You want them to feel special. You want them to see that you are paying attention to them. That is all that matters. Everything else just becomes background noise. So, build yourself a brand Bible. Feed it into ChatGPT. Feed it into Gemini. feed it into Bing, Claude, whatever AI persona that you want to use, feed them this brand voice. Your brand voice, your brand Bible. Everything that's in this brand Bible, you give them. And watch what it does. You will be amazed about what it can do once you give it the proper information. So, there we go, folks. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you've actually learned something. And when I get another idea, or if you want me to cover something, leave a comment in the sections and I'll cover it. This is basic marketing knowledge that you need to have to succeed.